But like, how did you get started? I think people would like that story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I've known Jared for a while,
Wait,
so he's
don't
known.
start telling the story yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Good morning, men. Welcome to Real Men, Real Talk. This is your Monday motivation. We are joined by Mr. Tillman
hey, what's going on, everybody?
and also our cat here is here. This is Carly. She is she's a little bit finicky. She might hang out for a while, but she might also just decide to leave at one point. So she just decided to come in for a while and sit on my lap. So she's with us. So today, Tillman, as we were talking about before we started recording, um, I was just kind of thinking about it over this last week, and I felt like it's going to be a little different today, guys. I was thinking of going more along the lines of a bit of a story time with Tillman. Um, so the story that I would love to hear is, how did you get involved with Real Men Apparel, and what's it been like?
Oh man. So it's honestly it's a longer story than I would expect it to be myself because um back in April of 2024, my wife and I took a vacation to Colorado, and we just love being in the mountains. We find peace in the mountains and just being in nature. And we were kind of at a point in our lives with like work and jobs and everything, because I was managing a Dollar General at the time, and I just wasn't happy. It was one of those jobs where you're going to do it because it needs to be done, but at the end of the day, it's
Mhm.
just one of those things where it really there wasn't anything being built from it other than stress and trying to find out who's going to call in the next day. Round.
Yeah, not like that. Or your call. I'm sorry.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, but so my wife, we were talking about jobs and stuff. She said, you should talk to Jared Mortensen, the designer and owner of the Real Men Apparel Company. We all know him well, and she mentioned this in April, and I thought, I don't want to sell men's underwear. That's weird. That's first initial thought. I'd never been around it. I'd watched like maybe one or two of the lives on the TikTok from that point. Um, and about oh gosh, fast forward to the end of September 2024. um, Jared and my dad, they attend the same church together, and they were just talking about some things. And Jared had mentioned that he was looking for some people to be on the TikTok lives and somebody to be a little more spontaneous, to be quick on their feet when it comes to punchlines and stuff like that. My dad was just kind of like, he just nonchalantly said, "Hey, you're describing my son." And it's just kind of like, well, and it was my dad told me about it, and he said, "Yeah, you should reach out to him." So I texted Jared. I think it was like a day later, or maybe even not even 6 hours later. He texted me back with just like the the entire what's the best word for it? The entire way, or the entire. Gosh, I'm losing my train of thought, Chris.
What the
The
entire?
what the job would entail, what the
Oh,
job entails. Yeah, the rundown. Yeah, the rundown. So, but he pretty much told me what it would be like, and he said, "I'll be live tonight at 7 p.m. It was a Saturday night. If you want to come in and watch it and see what it's about." So I came in and watched. So I was like, "Okay." And he said, "Do you think you can do this?" I said, "Well, we'll find out on Monday." And so that next Monday, I came in, got on a live in front of people, holding these mannequins and whatnot. I've actually got them right here with me. So one of these mannequins right here, and it was nerve wracking, right? It was nerve wracking. It was way outside of my comfort zone. I'd never been on social media before, other than like magic tricks when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And but it's like when I got off of that live, it felt right. It was just one of those things that felt right, and just the feedback from everybody and whatnot. I try to stay humble, but people were telling me like, "Hey, you're really good at this. This is like what you're meant to do. You were born for this, Tillman." I was like, I don't know about all that, guys, but they really hyped me up. And there came a point where I was kind of doing the Dollar General and the Real Men Apparel at the same time. And it kind of goes back into what we talked about last week, Chris, is just like burning our ships. I just had to burn Dollar General and go all in with this. And it's
Mhm.
been nothing but a huge blessing for me and my family. My wife's been able to step in and help us grow the Spanish side of the company, and we're seeing the benefits from it, not only financially, but just like I feel like, and spiritually and personally, and professionally as well. We're growing and we're learning more about social media, and I feel like I feel like if we hadn't have taken that step forward of like leaving what we were working at or what we were doing beforehand, we probably wouldn't have been able to advance as much as we have in regards to social media, technology, learning more about the internet, essentially, really. Because I mean, not everybody's going to know everything about the internet, but when you're working on the internet, you start learning ins and outs of it. So it's been an adventure for sure. I mean, but that's kind of how we came about it. And so here I am. What is it? February? It's almost March 2025. So I started full time in October of 2024, and I don't plan on stepping down or leaving unless you or Jared boot me out, right?
And to just like, so I give credence and affirm, like, you are good at this. Like, you really are. Honestly, like I've made videos. I've made like the nice, like, looking professional ones, and I know my lighting and my camera stuff. Like, that's the world that I come from.
Yeah.
But dang, like you get on there and you're just like, you're like the thing from Social, where it's like boom, bop, damn, like you just pop it out. Like, God,
Yeah, man.
Like, I'm not that good. Like, I do think fast. And if you get me into something that I'm passionate about, I will talk your ear off.
100%.
To like sell something and to keep a conversation going and to say the same thing over and over again, because I don't know if you guys like have been in on one of these TikTok lives. He's repeating himself a lot.
Yeah.
I get so tired of that.
Oh yeah.
But he really does it well. I'm a little bit more of a slower thinker, so yeah, like I really appreciate like what you bring to the team. Because that's just not something that I'm good at. And that's why we come together and we do things together.
That's right.
And meet each other.
That's right.
So yeah, I just want to affirm that you really are good at what you're doing. So
I appreciate it, Chris.
This leads me into another question that I've had. And I was honestly thinking about it this morning, even for myself, saying like, all right, you said that like selling men's underwear, that's weird. Okay, so let's talk about like weird, like what maybe the good way to frame the question is like, what's some of the weird stuff you encounter? How did it feel at first? How do you feel now?
Well, the first night I walked into the studio and just, sat in and watched Jared do a live, and seeing him, getting the mannequins ready and, snipping off some of maybe what might be some extra fibers here on the seam, or just readying the set and, messing with the prosthetics. That was just like, I've never done that before, it's just like you're looking at it, you're like, what am I supposed to do, and just like, and now it's just yeah, I know, it's just like I don't know how, and I've got a mannequin holding up my phone right now, so I'm just like I don't know what to do or anything like that. And that, I guess that was the weirdest part for me. It was just like, okay, I've got all these mannequins, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, like I want to say my first couple of months, and sometimes it still happens, but not as much. But there'd be times where I just start busting out laughing during the live, trying to keep a straight face. I would break character in a sense, But I think it gave it genuine. It was a genuine laugh, and I think a lot of people knew I was new, but it was just like the urge to laugh at what I'm doing was it was there. The temptation to laugh at what I was doing was there. But then it's all fun, and it was a new job. It was fun, and then over time it was like, okay, well there's a lot of people that are really enjoying this. And then the more I learned about the product and the more I knew why we show the crazy looking mannequins and all this and that, I was like, okay, so the product's going to be, I mean, it's like you said earlier when we were talking before we recorded, it's going to transform men's lives, especially after wearing it and trying it on. I was like, okay, there's nothing weird about this. And and we're trying to make it a conversation where it's like comfortable for people to talk about, kind of like how women talk about their bra sizes and stuff like that, so we want to make it a comfortable conversation for men to where, a bunch of guys can sit around a bonfire and be like, hey, we got this Real Men Apparel. This is what we're rocking, and just simple conversations. And I think the biggest thing in the beginning was like, first of all, it was nothing I'd ever done before. And secondly, I wasn't aware of like, I guess of how uncomfortable it might have caused. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I wasn't aware of how weird it actually was until you're actually doing it, but after a while of doing it at the point I'm at now, it's just like, you come in and you're like, okay, so this mannequin's showing what these guys need. So this is what I need to show them in order for them to realize, hey, this is comfortable. And there's been a lot of people, I'm looking at the comments from the past live up here on the monitor. One of the usernames up here, I remember him, he got his first set a couple weeks ago and he's been back like 6 or 7 times now, so it's to a point now to where it's like, it's easy to say, I look at it like a job and like, it's okay. But like people might be like, people will be like, "Oh, that's weird," that's weird. And it's like, it's not weird. It's comfortable. It's weirdly comfortable.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Sometimes weird just works,
yeah, exactly. And it's so interesting to see other point of views after I've been in it for as long as I have been now, for like the last 5 months. I guess, what is October? Is that 5 months? So October, November, December, January. Yeah, 5 months. So, but it's cool to see the different point of views of people now. It's just like, okay, I'm looking at these people, probably like Jared looked at myself and other people that have worked in the studio before, like, well, I hope they don't take me like I'm a joke, because this is a good product that I'm trying to share with them. So that's what it comes down to now.
That's really good. So this actually leads me to this is something that I find like a lot of guys deal with. Is there seems to be a fair amount of shame over either how big you are or how small you are in your genitals. And I say that word anatomically because I want to dismantle the shame that's been built up around our bodies. Like women can talk about their bras all day long, and no, it's not effeminate to talk about your body in a mature and helpful way. So talk to me a little bit about kind of like the shame, because you did a video actually just the last week, which I thought was really good. You were talking about how there's no shame here. Talk a little bit about like pouch size, shame, and how you're dismantling that even on the lives. Like, just like, you're selling product, sure, but at the same time you're doing some important work.
Yeah. So honestly, it's I mean, one of the biggest comments we get is like, "Yo, I'm not going to fill that whole pouch," And I feel like the first thing, it's funny, but I feel like the first thing people see when they swipe into the live is this giant prosthetic on this mannequin showing this crazy underwear with this red bearded dude holding it, screaming at a camera about it. It's like, and people are like, "What is going on?" And I feel like some people might subconsciously think, well, I got to be like the mannequin to wear this, so this isn't for me. But if they stick around long enough, they'll realize like, hey, we have 36 size variations because we're not made like Ken dolls. First of all, we know we're not. I mean, if we were made like Ken dolls, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, So it's like, we all have different shapes and sizes, and it comes down to the fact of like, we want to make it a comfortable space, even within the lives. Okay. It's just like saying, hey guys, there's no shame in what you have going on between the legs. As long as you're comfortable, that's all that matters. And if people are really worried about like, enhancement, it does give your package its full potential. Yes. But the whole idea behind it is to give you the separation and the support that you need between the legs, right? And so a big thing I always say is like, no matter the size between the thighs, there's a size for you guys, So it's like, and we use the ball metric system. So, I mean, it's just going to be total twig to berry ratio, right? So you just measure. And so, I mean, some guys might be an A pouch, some guys might be a D pouch, but at the end of the day, you're comfortable, and it's as custom fit as it'll get. So I feel like a lot of people come into the lives or watch the videos and are like, oh, I've got to be like this mannequin. I've got to be able to fill the pouch. And that's where a lot of misunderstanding comes from too, is like the pouch is going to move with you and you'll know if it's too small or too big. That's why we have the option to replace or returns or whatever you need to do there as well.
Yeah. And that's, man, you put that so good, because like,
thank you.
I've got my Christian friends, and that's mostly the kind of people who I like spend more time with. Like, our community is largely Christian based, but I know we got guys of all types. All right. Like, literally any kind of lifestyle you can, any kind of political affiliation, religious or none, we got it. All right.
Yep.
And it just, dismantling the shame around the size of your package is just like, I am really passionate about it because I had to deal with some of that body shame myself.
Yes.
And me growing up, and maybe we'll get into this story like a little deeper at some point, but my story around all this, but like, I started out with Fruit of the Loom and jockeys and all that. And my first pair of underwear that I bought myself was Calvin Klein. And then at some point I discovered like pouch underwear.
Mm.
And it was amazing. The fit was amazing. But the problem still existed that the pouch underwear that I bought was bought from companies who made it like all about the package size, like make your package look amazing. You know what's crazy? We're not out here to like, and like we're not out here to like boost your ego necessarily. We're out here to make you comfortable. Just feel like live in your own skin. And it was such a breath of fresh air for me when I think it was about 2 years ago when I founded this company, and I was like, wow, all these guys care about is you being comfortable. And like, sure, whatever you got, great. We'll cheer you on. Like, great. Love that you're huge, you know, but it's all about living in your own skin and being comfortable there. So
Yes.
yeah, I just want to like champion that, because that's a big thing that I think a lot of young men need. Just a little bit of like a solid ground there. Like we're not going to try to make it a big deal. We're not going to try to minimize it. We're just like, hey, we have bodies. They are different shapes. Whatever shape yours is, that's great. Like reach whatever goals you're trying to reach, like with your physique. But we're not here to try to push things one way or another. We're not here to smash you like big underwear. And we're not here to like make things crazy like some of the other brands out there. We just want you to feel comfortable in your own bodies.
Yes.
So, gentlemen, I think that's a great place to end it. And I am really encouraged from this story, because I 100% agree with Tillman that this is just letting you guys live in your own skins. I'll stop talking. So,
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Week. Sorry, what you saying?
Oh no, you're good, Chris. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just thinking. You said we have people from all kinds of walks of life within our customer base, and it just made me think. We're bringing people together whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people in the lives that are like polar opposite, but they can all commune together and talk about, what set of underwear they're in, what pouch they might be wearing, if they're comfortable sharing their pouch size, stuff like that. It's cool to see. It's cool to see. So, but yeah, I'll let you end it up there. I'm sorry.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful, Tillman. And I just 100% agree. So yes, we'll let you go, guys. Thank you so much for listening. You can get a hold of us on our social channels. We'll have another Monday Motivation up next week. So until next time, we'll see you later.
See you later.